The void of space stretches endlessly before me, a canvas of darkness punctuated by pinpricks of starlight. I've been staring out the viewport for hours, lost in thought. The gentle hum of the nebula's engines is the only sound breaking the oppressive silence. Captain Avery? A voice startles me from my reverie. I turn to see Zara, our xenobiologist, floating in the doorway. Her dark eyes are wide with a mix of excitement and apprehension. We're approaching the coordinates of the distress signal. I nod, pushing off from the viewport to follow her to the bridge. The corridors of our ship, once a source of comfort, now feel claustrophobic. We've been in deep space for months, searching for signs of the lost colony on Proxima b. This distress signal is the first real lead we've had. As we enter the bridge, the rest of the crew snaps to attention. Dr. Emerson, our chief scientist, is hunched over his console, muttering to himself. Garrett, our pilot, has his hands poised over the controls, ready for action. And Chen, our security officer, stands rigid, hand resting on his sidearm. Report, I command, settling into the captain's chair. Dr. Emerson speaks without looking up from his readings. The signal's origin is unusual, Captain. It's not coming from the planet's surface as we expected. It seems to be emanating from, well, from nowhere. I furrow my brow. Explain. He finally looks up, his weathered face creased with confusion. The signal exists, but it has no discernible point of origin. It's as if it's coming from the void itself. A chill runs down my spine, but I push the feeling aside. There must be a logical explanation. Garrett, take us in closer. Chen, run a full sensor sweep. Zara, analyze the signal for any biological components. Let's figure out what we're dealing with. As the nebula edges closer to the coordinates, an eerie silence falls over the bridge. The stars outside seem to dim, as if shying away from whatever lies ahead. The ship's systems begin to fluctuate, lights flickering ominously. Captain, Chen's voice is tense. I'm picking up something. But the readings don't make sense. It's as if there's a tear in space-time itself. Before I can respond, a blinding light floods the bridge. We shield our eyes, and when the glare subsides, I feel the blood drain from my face. Outside the viewport, where once there was only the empty void, now hangs a massive structure. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, a twisted amalgamation of metal and organic matter, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. My God, Zara whispers, it's alive. As if in response to her words, a tendril of energy lashes out from the structure, enveloping our ship. Alarms blare as our systems go haywire. Garrett struggles with the controls, but it's clear we're being pulled in. Brace for impact. I shout, gripping my chair as the nebula is swallowed by the impossible construct. Everything goes dark. For a moment, there's nothing but silence and the pounding of my own heart. Then, slowly, emergency lights flicker to life, bathing the bridge in an eerie red glow. Status report, I croak, my mouth dry with fear. Systems are offline, Garrett reports, his voice shaky. We're dead in the water, Captain. Life support? I ask, dreading the answer. Dr. Emerson checks his console. Functioning, but, sir, according to these readings, we're no longer in our own universe. A cold dread settles in my stomach. What do you mean? He looks up, his face pale. The laws of physics here, they're different. It's as if we've crossed into another dimension entirely. A low, rhythmic thumping sound echoes through the ship, like a massive heartbeat. The walls seem to pulse in sync with it, the metal warping in ways that should be impossible. "We need to get out of here," Chen says, voicing what we're all thinking. I nod, trying to project a calm I don't feel. "Agreed. Garrett, see if you can get any systems back online. Dr. Emerson, try to make sense of our location. Zara, Chen, you're with me. We need to assess the damage to the ship." As we make our way through the corridors, the feeling of wrongness intensifies. Shadows move in ways they shouldn't, and more than once I catch glimpses of shapes that vanish when I try to focus on them. We reach the airlock, and I freeze. Through the small window, I can see what lies beyond our ship. It's not the void of space, but a twisting, organic landscape that defies description. Massive tentacles writhe in the distance, and structures that could be buildings or could be living creatures dot the horizon. "Captain," Zara's voice is barely a whisper, "look." She points to a dark shape moving towards our ship. As it gets closer, I can make out more details, and I feel my sanity begin to fray. It's vaguely humanoid, but twisted and wrong in ways that hurt to look at. Its skin shifts and ripples, revealing glimpses of impossible geometries beneath. "We need to seal the ship," I say, my voice hoarse. "Now." But as we turn to head back to the bridge, a scream echoes through the corridor. It's Garrett. We race back, our footsteps echoing unnaturally. The bridge doors slide open, and I stop dead in my tracks. Garrett is there, but he's changing. His body is twisting, elongating, his skin taking on a sickly, translucent quality. He turns to us, and his eyes are no longer human. "Can you hear them, Captain?" he asks, his voice a multi-toned abomination. "The whispers in the void? They've been calling us for so long." Dr. Emerson backs away, terror etched on his face. What's happening to him? I don't have an answer. All I know is that we're in more danger than I could have ever imagined. "We need to quarantine him," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. "Chen, your sidearm." Chen raises his weapon, but Garrett, or what used to be Garrett, moves within human speed. In a blink, he's across the room, looming over us. His form continues to shift and change, growing larger, more alien. "Don't you see?" Garrett's voice echoes strangely, as if coming from multiple mouths. "This is evolution. This is our destiny." Tendrils begin to sprout from his body, reaching for us. We back away, but there's nowhere to run. We're trapped on a ship that's no longer ours, in a reality that no longer makes sense. "Captain," Zara's voice is tight with fear, "what do we do?" I look around at my crew, at the horror unfolding before us, and at the alien landscape visible through the viewport. The whispers Garrett mentioned grow louder in my mind, promising secrets and power beyond imagination. For a moment, I'm tempted to listen, to give in to the madness. But I clench my fists, fighting back against the intrusive thoughts. We fight, I say, even as Garrett's form continues to warp and grow. We find a way back home. As the words leave my mouth, the ship shudders violently. New alarms blare, and through the viewport, I see more of those twisted, alien shapes approaching. The whispers in my mind grow to a crescendo, threatening to overwhelm me. Our mission to investigate a distress signal has become a desperate fight for survival and sanity. As Garrett's mutated form looms over us and unknowable horrors approach from the void, I realize our odyssey into terror has only just begun. The world around us warps and twists, reality bending in ways that make my mind scream in protest. Garrett's mutated form towers over us, a mass of writhing tentacles and impossible geometries. I can no longer recognize anything human in him. Chen, fall back, I shout, grabbing Zara's arm and pulling her towards the corridor. Dr. Emerson is already there, his eyes wide with terror. We sprint through the ship, the walls pulsing and shifting around us. The whispers in my head grow louder, more insistent. They promise power, knowledge, transcendence. It takes every ounce of willpower to resist. We need to reach the escape pods, I gasp as we run. But even as the words leave my mouth, I wonder if escape is possible in this twisted reality. A bone-chilling screech echoes through the ship. It's not Garrett, it's something else, something worse. The sound is followed by the groan of tearing metal. They're breaching the hull, Chen says, his face pale. We reach the escape pod bay, but what we find stops us in our tracks. The pods are there, but they're wrong. The metal has fused with organic matter, pulsing and oozing. One of the pods splits open like a grotesque flower, revealing a mass of tentacles and eyes. Zara retches, turning away from the sight. What now, Captain? She asks, her voice trembling. Before I can answer, a wave of psychic energy washes over us. I stagger, my vision blurring. When it clears, I see something that makes my blood run cold. Standing before us is me. But not me. This version of myself is twisted, changed. Its skin ripples with alien symbols, and its eyes glow with eldritch knowledge. Welcome, it says, its voice a chorus of whispers. We've been waiting for you. What are you? I demand, fighting to keep my voice steady. The thing wearing my face smiles, the expression stretching its features unnaturally. We are the future. The next step in evolution. And you are the key. It reaches out a hand, and reality bends around it. Suddenly, we're no longer in the ship. We're standing on a vast plain under an alien sky, surrounded by impossible structures that hurt to look at. This is what awaits humanity, my doppelganger says. Ascension. Transformation. The breaking of all boundaries. I see visions of Earth, of humanity changed into monstrous, cosmic forms. I see the stars reshaped, reality rewritten. It's beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Join us, the thing whispers. Embrace the void. For a moment, I'm tempted. The promise of ultimate knowledge, of power beyond imagining, is almost irresistible. But then I look at my crew, at Zara's terrified face, at Chen's determined stance, at Dr. Emerson's wide-eyed confusion, and I remember who I am. No, I say, my voice growing stronger. We are more than this. We don't need to become monsters to evolve. The doppelganger's face twists in anger. Then you will be consumed, like all who resist the inevitable. The ground beneath us starts to writhe, tentacles bursting forth. Chen opens fire with his sidearm, but the bullets pass harmlessly through the ethereal forms attacking us. Run! I shout, grabbing Zara and Dr. Emerson. We flee across the alien landscape, reality shifting around us with each step. One moment we're running across solid ground, the next we're falling through space, then we're wading through a sea of memories. The whispers in my head reach a fever pitch, threatening to drown out all rational thought. I see my crew struggling too, their faces contorted in pain and confusion. Focus on who you are, I yell to them. Don't let them in. We reach what looks like a cliff edge, but instead of a drop, we see a swirling vortex of energy. Behind us, the horde of cosmic horrors gains ground, led by my twisted doppelganger. We have to jump, I say, realizing it's our only chance. Are you insane? Dr. Emerson cries. We don't know where it leads. Anywhere is better than here, Chen growls, firing off his last rounds to buy us time. I take a deep breath, steeling myself. Together, I say, reaching out to my crew. They hesitate for just a moment, then take my hands. As one, we leap into the vortex. The sensation is indescribable. We're torn apart and reassembled a million times over. I see the birth and death of universes, the rise and fall of civilizations beyond human comprehension. Through it all, I cling to my sense of self, to the warmth of my crew's hands in mine. With a jolt, we crash back into reality. We're on the bridge of the nebula, but everything's different. The ship is whole, untouched by the horrors we've witnessed. Through the viewport, I see the familiar stars of our own universe. Are we back? Zara asks, her voice hoarse. Before I can answer, the ship's computer chirps. Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's from Earth. With shaking hands, I open the channel. A familiar voice comes through mission control, sounding confused and concerned. Nebula, this is Houston. We lost contact with you well, it's been 3 years. What happened out there? 3 years? My mind reels. I look at my crew, seeing the same shock and disbelief on their faces. Houston, I respond, my voice cracking, you wouldn't believe us if we told you. But we're coming home. As I end the transmission, I notice something on my hand. A small, swirling mark, almost like a tattoo. Looking closer, I see it's composed of tiny, alien symbols. A chill runs down my spine as I realize we may have escaped, but we've brought something back with us. The whispers in the void are silent for now, but for how long? As the nebula charts a course for Earth, I can't shake the feeling that our odyssey into cosmic horror is far from over. Whatever awaits us back home, I know one thing for certain: the universe is vaster, darker, and more terrifying than we ever imagined. And somewhere out there, in the spaces between realities, my twisted doppelganger is waiting. Watching. Planning. The void whispers, and part of me still wants to listen.